Well, hey everyone, welcome. We are live with a Mausritter Roundtable. We've got Andre, we've got Brett, we've got M. Allen Hall, and Peter. Why don't y'all introduce yourselves?
Should I start?
Yeah, go for it, Andre.
I think people have seen my face. I'm showing my face a lot. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I think you like it, Matt, but yeah, who knows? Anyway, happy to be here. Talk about Mausritter Month once again with all these lovely, wonderful, amazing creators that we have been blessed with, have been blessed to have in this event. And yeah, I'm Andre. I'm doing Junk City with Isaac Williams. But yeah, I wish to give the space to the creators here, the with wonderful projects that are part of the Mausritter Month. So yeah, maybe Brett, you want to go ahead?
Hey, hey everybody, Brett Sullivan here with Phaelite Studio, and we're doing Hell and Hogwaller for Mouse Ritter Month, and yeah, it's just really exciting to be a part of this and see so much talent being put together. So thank you all for having us here.
Maybe Peter, want to go? Thank you, Brett. Thank you for
Y-
that.
Yeah,
Peter, do
of
you want
course.
to?
Hey everyone, I'm Peter Elroy, making Flights of Fancy together with Max Philippi, my partner in crime. Looking forward to the rest of this month. It's been very exciting so far because there's just a lot of creativity, and I'm always there for it. Yeah.
Thank you. And we also have Alan Hall here with us.
Hello, I'm Alan, as M. Alan Hall, and I'm working on the Baron script for Master Month with Jamie Douglas as the artist that I'm working with on that and pulling that together with. Very excited to be part of the month here and meet a whole new community of creators and players at this game.
Thanks very much. And Matt, why don't you introduce yourself as well?
I am Matthew Morris.
The king of the Mouse Ritter community, the round king.
Yeah, no, I'm the official live stream guru now. This is the fourth time I've ever done this. No, myself and Hugh Lashbrook of 10 Acre Games, we are bringing Rolling Coast amusement park setting. So, yeah, super excited to get to work with so many cool people and to finally get to meet y'all and see y'all like face to face through a screen. But I've got back on the bookshelf back there, lots of all of y'all's stuff, and so it's really cool to actually have conversations. So this is really cool. So thanks Andre for putting all this together. Thanks to Isaac
Of course.
for helping get all this going as well.
I mean, I just send messages. You're doing the hard labor of actually setting up the stream. So this is you, Matt.
Well,
Thanks,
I want to
thanks for
give
that.
yeah, I want to give a huge shout out to Ryan from the Weekly Scroll podcast, because if it were not for his expertise, none of this would happen. We've had lots of Discord conversations back and forth, and he's taught me some tricks, and so huge shout out.
Awesome. So the way I was thinking this could go is we ask a bunch of questions about these projects because me and Matt we've had already like a streaming where we talked about Junk City and Rolling Coast. So you definitely, if you can and if you want to, you can check that out. It's on YouTube, right?
Correct.
On your channel, yeah.
Correct.
So just search for Mouse Raider Junk City on YouTube or Rolling Coast, and you'll probably get there. But yeah, let's give the floor to the people who haven't heard yet, I guess. And maybe Brett, do you want to talk a little bit about your project, which I'm very excited about because it's like a World War One kind of thing for Mouse Ritter, setting for Mouse Ritter. I know that Isaac is also very excited about it. When we had these submissions coming and he read the pitch, he was like, "Oh, we need to have this one because this is really really different from what normally appears under the Mausritter compatibility license. For people who don't know, Mausritter has is under Creative Commons and has a compatibility license. So everyone, every creator out there can make content for Mausritter with neither me, Exalted Funeral, Isaac, neither of us taking obviously no cut from it, so you can create content. And Matt Morris here, I'm sorry for this parenthesis, but I think it's important. And Matt here actually created this Mausritter library, which is like a database repository of all the content done for Mausritter, and it has like over 1,200 supplements, I think. Yeah, 1,200 supplements. But anyway, Brett, do you want to say a few words about what your project is and what it entails?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I got the idea. I was watching some war movies, World War I, World War II, TV shows, movies, and taking a hike at a local farm, and got up to where all these little piglets were, and I was just watching them run through the mud, and just kind of thinking, it's like, oh, look at these trenches, and then it just brought back the memories of the shows I'd been watching. And I mean, a lot of the media that is around this genre, Redwall, Watership Down, things like that. There's always a war in the background. Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Indiana Jones. These have all been huge influences on me, but there's that war in the background. But it's not a war movie. It's adventure set during a wartime. And I seeing these hogs just kind of like go crazy in this field made me think of all the little trenches and the adventures that could be had in this farm setting. That it's like you've got the barn over there, you've got the woods in the field, everything surrounding it. But then to find a way to tie into Mausritter that overarching war narrative. It's not just war band rules. It's not, a whole host attacking a bigger creature, but a background that to set your adventures in that gives some pressure and a little bit of theme to everything. And this is designed to be able to drop in, if you have other favorite modules, you can drop them in right around the Forgotten Field where this is set and adventure there, and then come back and see what happened while you were gone. How did the war shift? Or, maybe you went to Junk City to pick up some kind of new equipment or something that's going to turn into a new weapon, or to recruit an ally. Alan Hall and I, we collabed a little bit on the backer kit too. So his setting is just to the northwest of the Forgotten Field, so you'll be able to go back and forth to those. But yeah, and check in on the war, see how things are going, help develop, and see what the forces are doing. Are the mice moving east? Are the weasels moving west? And all this will include a really simple rules mechanic to show the shifting and ebb and flow of the tide of the war as parties adventure in the Forgotten Field.
Awesome. That's really interesting what you just said, because I think maybe you actually read this. I don't know. Maybe it was by accident, but you kind of stepped onto the Mausritter primer as laid out by adventure primer as laid out by Isaac himself, which is when you're designing a Mausritter adventure, you should actually you don't need to look further than your actual human world that you're living right now, and then you're imagining all these mouse scaled adventures in pretty much everything that you see. So for me and Isaac, it was like, okay, this suddenly this a junkyard is obviously a mouse or can be turned into a mouse city, or we like to do these adventures that are like, a grandfather clock, and all of a sudden a grandfather clock is a wizard tower, or a fridge even. And what you just described is cool, because you just went out into the nature basically, and you came back with a Mausritter setting. So that's really that's really cool. Matt, do you have any questions? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I want to know a little bit more. One of the things that I'm really excited about with this supplement is the War is Hex sort of. I guess mini game isn't the right way of saying it, but almost like skirmish. And I saw when I watched the live stream with the actual play that you guys did, and it looks like you had like 4 individual character sheets, and it almost felt kind of like a funnel. So maybe could you tell us a little bit more about level 1 or level 0 funnel rules?
Yeah, definitely. One of the included adventures in with Helen Hogwaller is Operation Gatelatch, and it is a level 0 funnel. Folks will have four commoner mice characters who had just survived the night of thundering squeals. That is the night that the hogs got let loose on the idyllic field. All of a sudden, homes are destroyed, trenches are dug up, the field is rutted and furrowed all over the place, and just chaos is reigning. And you are a group of anywhere from 4 to 30 some mice, armed with umbrellas and magnifying glasses and top hats, all sorts of things that which I've seen put to really, really fun use in playtesting the funnel. It's been really cool to see what people do. But yeah, you have been no, that's not that. Recruited by the Far Patrol, which is kind of like the mouse guardish sort of folks who wander the field, help and protect the settlements. But they have pressed the commoners into service, and you need to get to the gate. The hogs are in retreat, and latch it behind the hogs so they can't get back into the field. So this is going to be a small army of mice storming a human-sized, think the Cotswold England stone wall with a gate in it, and trying to get that big gate shut before the hogs can return.
That's so cool. That's so cool. So if a character or a player loses all 4 of their mice, can their buddy next to them just hand them 2 and you can just keep going, or?
We've got a couple spots in the scenario where it's baked in, where it's like there are some other mice in the area. You'll go through a ruined town that's set up around an old lunchbox and thermos that were left in the field, and the mice have turned that into a barn and silo. And then the village of Harvest Home is grown around that lunchbox, so you have a chance to pick up some allies at Harvest Home if you need some more mice.
That's cool. Can you so you can actually cross the Forgotten Field, and that's kind of like an adventure itself, or how does that work?
Yes, one of the challenges has been scale, because looking at the Mausritter, this is how you build an adventure with your hex map and everything. So what we're doing with this, there will be a hex map of the Forgotten Field with a lot of prominent locations detailed out in the field guide and shown on the map. But that's going to lean back into that War's Hex that Matt mentioned. And that is just a super simple way of tracking where friendly and enemy lines are. So in Operation Gatelatch, you've got the ability to get anywhere from 3 to 7 action points if you close the gate, you'll get 3 action points. And it's kind of a meta currency that when you zoom out and look at the field map, then your players can be like, oh, let's spend a point here and move our lines forward. Let's spend another point and move, let's take over the oak. That way we have that behind our lines. Now we have a source of food, or we can use the oak as an adventure site or a training ground or whatever they want to do with it. And then there's also a few other uses for adventure points. It's a super simplistic way of just abstracting the war, changing the environment around the players, and them getting to dictate those actions. But, with those 7 adventure or action points in Operation Gatelatch, if they only get 4, the GM gets 3. So the GM's going to move their lines, or they're going to research a new weapon, or be like, hey, look, there's something really crazy going on at the barn back here. So all of a sudden the players might, well, we need to infiltrate that barn. Let's look at that as our next mission. And it kind of helps give a structure to guiding the story. The players be like, we do want to go check out that barn, or we want to capture that bridge, or whatever it might be. So the GM has a little bit of forewarning to help make the next adventure just kind of tailored into what's going on.
That's cool. I really like when settings and games give tools to the GM, kind of like organic tools that come out of or from the gameplay itself that emerge at the table. But then there's the guidebook, or the book also offers you tools to kind of reflect on that, on what happened, and just build from that. And I really love that idea. I think it's going to be great. Maybe Alan, do you want to talk about how, like, your because I know that you and Phalite Studio are doing some sort of cross collab here. So the Barrens, the Forest, I believe
So
it's kind of like in this setting. So if you want to talk about like how that came to be and that relationship and your project, that would be great.
sure, of course. For the cross collab, Brett reached out to me being like, "Hey, I looked at your project and I see that you're a forest, and in Helena Hogwaller there was already sort of a I don't know the details on what Brett had already put in there, but the idea that there was a forest off the map in a certain direction, and it's like, hey, we could cross collab and then like just make that forest your forest." And so that was sort of, and I said, sure, we brainstormed a little bit about how we're going to, in the base adventure for each game, we'll have just sort of like a few little references to each other's thing, but not so much that if you only have one of them, that like you feel like you're missing something out. But it's just like, oh yeah, there's another city off the map that in that direction, and it's the city in Brett's book. But then what we're going to do for the actual cross collab reward, it'll just be like a leaflet, so just an A5 sheet where we go through, hey, if you have both and you want to really integrate them, here's a list of new rumors that you can use, or here are some NPCs some encounters you can have with people from one adventure in the other, to sort of sink some hooks in to your players to draw them into the other setting. Like maybe you need to escape the war for a little bit, and you know that there's another city over there, and you get there and then you see, oh, there's all sorts of problems here that maybe they could end up helping out with. They could get recruited by the in the campaign setting that I'm doing. There's an underground resistance sort of like network. That's where the players are usually going to be starting off, and sort of they could get contacted by people from the Helena Hogwaller. So the idea is that you can sort of shift back and forth if you wanted to. And there'll be those little references to start, and then if you want to, you can really like dump a whole bunch of stuff in from one to the other, so that they can really be connected tightly.
That's really that's fantastic. I met Jamie, who is the artist, or the main artist working.
Yeah, Jamie Douglas.
Jamie was actually in Portugal a few weeks ago,
wow.
or like
Nice.
So we had a meal, and it was great. He shared some of the art, and I was instantly hooked by what he's absolutely incredible.
Phenomenal.
I'm actually probably hiring him now to do some other stuff. So
that's awesome.
So that came together well, I guess. But there you go.
That's yeah. So I mean, so that was actually how I started on this. I saw that you guys were doing the Mausritter Month, and I was like, I write adventures. I've been writing adventures for a couple of years now for a bunch of different systems. I had not written for Mausritter yet, but I was like, oh, that might be a good place to jump into this. And I had just finished a project with Jamie. We had done a Kickstarter in February, March for a game called In Ruins, and I loved his style. It was like very playful, and I'm like, Jamie could totally draw mice, and I was like, so I emailed him. I'm like, Mausritter's doing this thing. How do you feel about drawing some mice? And he was like, I'm in. So we've been doing
Jamie's
that.
perfect. We've been in contact since we met. But yeah, let me just say that all these projects, for the people who are listening, all these projects are completely funded by now, and we're just on the stage where we've knocked down each of these projects has knocked down a bunch of stretch goals, even so. You just keep on supporting, check them out. Let's knock down a few more stretch goals. But Alan, do you want to maybe talk about what your setting actually is?
Sure.
What the faction? I know there's like a
Baron, the bad guy,
badger.
Yeah.
So yeah, just go ahead.
Sure. So I guess looking at some of the other campaigns that are going right now, what I've got put together is more of a classic fantasy role-playing game sort of setup. You start in the essential town called Borodin, and the premise is that your town, which was once like a hub of commerce in Willowshade Forest, which is the forest of the setting, was taken over by a badger named is referred to as the Baron. And the mayor, the former mayor of the town, disappeared, which is a key point in the Show of Strength pamphlet that Matthew just held up. The mayor disappeared, and the Baron took over, and the Baron has a gang of hench rats, are his enforcers, and they have just sort of taken over, and they're doing all sorts of things that make the mice hate them. But what can the mice do? They're mice, and they're extracting taxes from the mice. They're stealing all the food from the town, and they've just been sitting here. The Baron and his hench rats and the people of Borodin are pretty much fed up with it. And so there are murmurings of resistance against the Baron. And so that's where you start. And then the idea is the characters will be part of this resistance movement, and they will go out into Willowshade Forest in search of a way to get rid of the Baron. And there are multiple paths. And this is where sort of in an old school style of adventure play is I left lots of options open. They can go into I got 6 different dungeons throughout the forest, including one that's on the bigger side. It's 65 rooms, 5 levels, thousands of pips worth of treasure to find. And so they can go do some dungeon delving, join the treasure hunters guild from another city nearby, do some dungeon delving, getting a whole bunch of money, hire a bunch of war bands, and then maybe if you've got some of Brett's rules from Hell and Hogwater, go to war against the Baron, who with Mausritter's standard faction tracking is going to be spreading his influence to neighboring settlements, and each time he takes over a settlement, he acquires a warband from that settlement, and so his power is going to be growing. So there's a bit of a clock on the players being able to get enough power to take him out. If they want to go that route, they can also go recruiting another NPCs. There are some other powerful NPCs in the forest that of others. There's a snake who's called the Oracle, who likes to collect magic items. There is an owl who is actually does a lot of hunting, so it's frequent random encounters. But you can also go find her nest and potentially talk to her if you're equipped for that. So you could recruit NPCs to help, or there's a magic item. So there's one magic item, the sort of the backstory, which a lot of which is in a Show of Strength, that pamphlet. Is there's this magical prison, and it's a big marble. It was like a shooter marble that a cat witch imprisoned the Baron in. And then the head hench rat, Slineker, broke that, freed the Baron because he needed the muscle to do what he wanted to do. And then he hid the pieces of it. So the players could go find those pieces, which are at the bottom of 3 of those 6 dungeons in the forest. They could happen upon one of these pieces. And then there's some magic users that they might know, or they might go to the Oracle to find out, what is this piece? How do I get the other ones? How do I put them back together? And all of that stuff is available to them. So that's really the focus is, players can choose how they want to approach this problem, but it is sort of set up where it's not purely open world. It's like, there's a problem. It's the Baron. And you're here, you got a goal. You want to get rid of him. And so how you're going to do that, lots of options.
Cool. Matt, do you want to, I feel like I'm taking over, so you do. No, you talk now.
No, you're good. You're good. I love this. And that idea, one of the things I love about Mausritter is the cross compatibility of everyone's settings and whatnot. And so the idea of the Baron taking over other settings, I'm the kind of person where I'm going to get all these Mausritter Month projects at my table at one time. And so even hearing you describe that, and I'm like, oh, well, our players would probably try and make their way down to Feathertail Falls and recruit an Air Force from Flights of Fancy to come fly and help try. And I'm like, how is the Baron connecting with the bad guys from Hell and Hogwaller? It's just so cool. So yeah, I
love that. I love that idea. The Baron division and everything. I'm very excited about the Baron's grip. Love it.
So one question on the Baron's grip and the broken marble and the hidden pieces, was that something that you had come up with? And then when Junk City said they have all these puzzle pieces, or they just this happened.
Completely, they're completely
That's so
separate.
cool.
Yeah,
That's
and
so cool.
and they're called. I was calling them shards as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I know that there's.
Oh wow.
So it's like,
Okay.
which is it's whatever. It's fine. No, that was sort of the. I knew I wanted. And this is sort of the standard from the Mausritter rulebook. The 19 hex flower is our map. And so I was thinking I want to put a bunch of dungeons here. This is sort of inspired by Evils of Ilmire, not Mausritter, but the idea they have a hex flower, and it's just every single hex is a dungeon in it. And I'm like, I'm not going to go that far, but like I just want a bunch of dungeons in this forest. And I was like, well, why are they going to go into them? It's like, well, why do you do any? I mean, we need to put a MacGuffin at the bottom. And so I was like, well, this, and then by breaking it up, I'm like, okay, well, then I could say, well, they have to go to 3 different dungeons at least, because that's in my gameplay, that's what I find fun. Whereas you could stay above ground and just talk to NPCs the whole time and never do any of that stuff. But if I was playing, I'd want to be going after the magic items, or like the biggest dungeon, Barn Down, which is in my mind modeled off Stonehell, is the 5 levels, lots of stuff down there, multiple factions down there, like a backstory for why it's filled with undead. But like you don't have to do any of that. Like that's like this huge chunk of the book, but that special magic item, those shards of the Pocked Sphere, which is that prison, they're not even down there. But you could go down there and make a lot of money, and maybe recruit some allies from some of the characters that you find down there. But yeah, it's just like just options. We got all these different places you could go, and you could solve problems in those places. Like each one is, you could look at as it has its own hooks, it has its own backstory. There's things to do there that you may or may not want to drag some of that back into the big fight that you've got going on against the Baron.
Awesome.
So you're just trying to leave stuff open.
I really love that, and me and Isaac obviously think of Mausritter very much as an old school oriented game in the old school spirit somehow, and a lot of people think of it too. So it has to have dungeons. So that's just the way it is. So thank you for that. And now maybe let's take flight with Peter, maybe, and because I think Peter's Peter is did Feathertail Falls. That's correct, right? That's I have so many names in my head. So it was the I just wanted to point this out. It was the first Mausritter third-party project that was nominated for an Annie Award. So that it's very exciting to have Mausritter content created by other creators and fans that have reached these heights. Let's say it like this, since we're talking about some aerial madness, I guess. So Peter, you wanna go ahead?
Yeah,
thanks, Alan.
I mean, first off, just considering Annie's, I think the big thing there, and this is to just all the Mausritter creators, to just submit your thing, like even if you don't expect to win it, because it's judged by submission. And I didn't per se expect to get a nomination, but I sent it in, right? And if you don't send it in, you don't, you're not gonna get any nomination. So I would just wanted to get that off the chest. But yeah, absolutely. Feathertail Falls and the nomination, and that is kind of together with Mausritter Month why I'm here right now, because previously with Feathertail Falls, I was off designing a different game, but then I was doing a Mausritter campaign, and it was just such a lot of fun. And I was writing a setting for it, and I was writing adventures for it anyway, and that just snowballed into a thing where I was like, oh, I'm just going to do this in between things. But it was so much fun that it turned into this big project, and it was a lot of fun making these adventures, making this place. And then that was done, and then I wasn't done with it, because the process was just it's a very inviting game to play with people, because it's imaginative, it's creative, the whole setting, but then also to create adventures for it has been a lot of fun. So the project was done, but I wasn't. But I was like, okay, but I had other things in mind. I want to do that. But then Mausritter Month was announced. Like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do this. So the thing with Flights of Fancy is First of all, it's just an excuse to make more adventures because it's been a lot of fun. And this time around, also to bring in some guest creators who are good friends of mine because as I've been growing as an adventure writer, I've really been enjoying that creative discourse with people, both the general RPG community and also the just speaking with people from the Mausritter community. Matt and I have been in touch, André, through this Mausritter month. We've been getting to know each other a bit better. So I've been enjoying that, but then also with Feathertail Falls, we flirted with the idea of flight as a theme in the distance, but we didn't give the tools to the players of like, okay, here's your flying machine, go and have fun with that. And I really wanted to get into that because designing adventures with that maybe of, ooh, okay, flight. That's a cool new thing that hasn't been explored a lot. You've got your sparrow riders, you've got your pigeon ferryman. It's not a very explored theme though, so we want to dive deeper into it. But designing adventures on a maybe of maybe the characters walk and maybe the characters fly, that's the designers or GM's worst nightmare, which leads some tables to forbid flying in the first place. So for this adventure collection, I set out to say, okay, we're going to assume that all players are gonna have the means of flight. So that's the first thing the project is. We're making just treasure trove of all sorts of fun, weird ways to fly that you could bring into any game. Like Matt said, you could use it to go to a different place. We also make sure that the different ways to do it, the game master can tweak it a bit as well. Like if you want it to be a very big part of the game, you can give them ways to repair them and stuff. Or if, as a game master, you want that to be, more of a one-time exploration, you just, give them some cool means to fly and make sure they break to give some flexibility there. And then these adventures that we're writing, which makes use again of the setting we've created and that I've kind of grown to love of Feathertail Falls, but kind of as like a new season that stands on its own. So you've got these new adventures that tie together in a new way. There's a strange new magic literally in the air, and the floor has metaphorically become and is becoming lava. So players are finding these creatures in the air or around them that are gaining powers, and at the same time finding themselves urged to move away from the ground. And so that's a head-on collision bound to happen. And that's the main idea of Flights of Fancy, just, having fun, exploring a different side of what you could do in this world of Mausritter.
Awesome. Thank you. Matt, you want to take over?
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So Peter, you've got 3 adventures that you are writing, and Max is doing the art for, which Max's art is amazing, and absolutely love that. But you mentioned partnering up with some friends that you have in the TTRPG space. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm very happy to see this online Discord. I'm personally very bad at it. I invest a lot in local community. So I'm the host of a public RPG night in my nearby city, Utrecht. And there's a few, or actually a bunch of creators that come and go there, including Bodhi H, who has previously made Mush Rush for the estate. So he's coming back to Mausritter basically to write A Sign from Above, which is this terrific adventure. When I talked with him, he was like, I don't know what I'm going to make, but I want to make something about an animatronic. I don't know. For me, that already was a yes. Like, okay, cool. whatever
Of course.
comes next. And then he came up with this awesome unicorn that's shining a new light that's attracting this weird moth cult. And so yeah, I've become kind of a fan of my own project. I want to reach these stretch goals because I want these games to exist as well and to play them as well. So that's Bodhi. We've reached that stretch goal. We're very close to the next one, which is Emil Bova, who is most well known from the Electrum Archive and from Durf. He also comes from the Netherlands. He's also been at the RPG night in Utrecht. That's how we got to know each other and been sparring about stuff. I really like his work as well.
His work is fantastic. Let me just say, I'm a big fan of Electrum Archive. I was in Dragon Meet a few years ago when I picked it up, and actually Emil was there, but I didn't know, so we didn't meet. And then I just showed the book on my Instagram, and a few days after, and he was like, "Oh, we should have met." And yeah, so it was a shame, but.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's absolutely really cool, and I love his setup of doing these volumes. So you've got issue one, which paints the setting in strokes at that scale, and then issue two that zooms into a settlement and gives pre-made adventures for that settlement. I think that's a very cool way to go if you also have the commitment to do it in that way, right? It sets a promise that I'm very excited about, to have this world that kind of in new releases gives you more detail and more to explore. I think that's very cool. But yeah, that's Emil Bova. So also writing a thing, we're very close to reaching that stretch goal. So yeah, this is part of this project is an excuse for me to work with people I like and would love to collaborate with. So I'm very happy to see we're getting close to that one.
Yes, it's going to happen. It's going to happen for sure.
Yeah. Although I am just watching the thing for the third goal, which is I'm very happy to have these two cool established creators join the party, but we've also got some creators at the RPG night that people haven't heard of, and I really wanted to include that as well. So we've got Froggy. They've been creating awesome adventures. In fact, they write an adventure pamphlet for pretty much every session they make, like an actual pamphlet with nice layout and stuff, and then never release it. They have a very heartfelt quality to them, and so we were talking about that. I called them. I'm like, would you want to be a part of this? And immediately, their biological education kicked in. They've got a really cool adventure in mind of these ants that can create these cool network or these cool structures, and they're placing those in a tree where the players need to help protect treasures from being stolen, or perhaps if the players are so inclined, pilfer some of them for themselves. With these nice, just going back to Andrew, what you said, love using nature as inspiration, just taking an animal that just does a really cool, weird thing and then build something around that. So I'm excited about that as well.
Thank you. That's awesome, Peter. Thank you so much. And thank you, Brad, Alan. It's been absolutely great. Matt, what do you want to do? Are there questions in the chat? Do you want to, if any of you want to ask questions to another creator or whatever, just feel free to do that. Matt, do you want to talk about rolling coasts, or how are you using all of this with rolling coasts? Is it possible to use these things with rolling coasts? Have you thought about that? Do you have
well, so we
are you going to design like a 5-year Mausritter campaign with all of this? What's going on?
Without a doubt. So actually, last night I just got a piece of artwork from Fernando Salvatierra, who's doing our maps, and he's expanded our 19 hex flower, and in the bottom corner we have a like a rubbish dump, and we've got adventures already set in there. but he's kind of like taken that off the map even more. And so like Hugh and I have already talked about, like when we run our games, we'll probably just put Junk City maybe 2 hexes off to the south. We've got a forest that has fairies in it, so we're like, we'll connect that there. And so, but before there was even the Baron's Grip and the Hell and the Hogwaller mashup, I was in my mind, I was like, oh well, I'll put this one because it looks kind of medieval off in the forest over here. But then when I found out you guys were teamed up, I was like, oh well, maybe they could. So yeah, I've got, if everyone produces a hex. A 19 hex flower, I'm just going to then layer those onto a larger hex map in my own head canon, which I was doing with all the third party stuff for probably the first 3 years of third party things being released. Because at that point there was only like 200, and I was like, I can map these out.
Yeah,
and,
only.
Yeah,
only 200.
yeah. Well, we're like almost
Yeah, I know.
there's we've got a jam going right now, and there's already 20 things submitted in that, and it's got another like 3 weeks. I'm just like, this is crazy. It's so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super excited for all of these, and just to see how the different things like come together. Like my mind already jumps to, if you have a campaign and you've got committed players and you can actually go through, like if players make their way to the high street, which is the mech ritter setting, and they pick up some mech pieces, but then stumble in their journeys into the Forgotten Fields. Like, I'm just thinking about how to do War as Hex, but now you've got a mech on your team, and you're like, okay, now that's even cooler. And maybe you have a friend who's flying over from, like, in my mind, I'm just like, you can build these like Avengers style things, and so yeah,
Absolutely.
there's some cool stuff there. But yeah, I not seeing a whole lot of questions in the chat. But so if chat wants to ask some questions, go for it. But yeah, Andre, you mentioned asking questions back and forth, even amongst us.
I don't know if you guys want, like,
so I actually do have a question. I got a question
sure, of course.
Because I think so, Matthew. Did you mention you got brawling rules?
Correct.
In yours?
Correct. Yeah.
All right, because we also have a junkyard in the edge of our map.
Oh, cool.
And that's actually there's a rat settlement there, but they're like the leader of that settlement like is trying to be like a little bit more well-to-do. So she is just like, no, this is like people, mice can come here and trade too. Like everything's cool. Like we're an actual, like, not just like band of thieves kind of thing. But anyway, in there is, in an old truck tire, there's an arena, and I've got like a gauntlet set up. But in my mind, it was just like, no, this is like, you could get killed in this arena. You're just using the regular fighting rules for this. And there's like a gauntlet of like, and you just got some regular rats, and then the next one up, they're like all armored up, and then there's like some sort of boss. I don't have details on that yet, but it's like, the idea is if you get through the gauntlet, you get a bunch of money, and that's might be how you make money. But
that's so awesome.
But the idea that you've got like, something to make that so it could potentially be non-lethal. Like in my mind, I'm like, well, if they die, they die. But like the fact that you maybe it's not quite so violent. Maybe it is a little bit better, more under control. So I love the idea of bringing that in to make it like, no, this is just like, it's just a fight. It's just like a boxing match and not like an actual gladiator thing.
Well,
I think Mets is non-lethal, right? As far as I can remember.
Yeah. So ours is non-lethal, but I just love how we've said it before on this stream that like Mausritter is just our backyard, and because our fighting arena takes place in a dump, in a tractor tire tipped on its side, made into an arena, and they on the hubcap are doing everything. We've got five levels of like people that you can like work your way up to like the championship ring. So it sounds like you got very similar.
It's absolutely.
But ours
it's just like,
ours is PvP, so you can either fight against like the NPCs, or like players can enter in against one another. And we've got some mechanics for like different like dirty tricks that you can do, like have like a pocket, like have like a hot sauce pocket, packet, and like squirt it, and like so there's some stuff there. But yeah, ours is it's so cool hearing you even say that, because I'm like, oh man, I can already put these together, because we have a rat gang, but there's like a young up and comer who's trying to make things more socialized between all the species, and is doing so in like this whole like espionage kind of thing, trying to run a coup so the mice can actually even join to help overthrow the bad rat boss. And so it's like, yeah, maybe they're different factions of the same reform amongst the rats that's going on.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I
Or
love
just because so she's like potentially a very powerful ally because she gets really mad that the Baron has been recruiting people from her town to be his henchrats, and so she's like really pissed at the Baron. So like definitely somebody that like the players should be like really nice to because getting you could get your own warband of rats from the dump for if that's the way they're going to take on the Baron.
we should totally because the players can infiltrate the office of the reforming rat within our system. We should totally throw in just a one-off line. There's like a letter from this female rat from Borden.
Yeah.
Like that would just be so cool in my mind. And
Well, I mean, you saw that's exactly how I did it with in A Show of Strength. I'm like, there's a letter from the city that's
Yeah.
over in Helena Hogwaller
Yes.
setting. It's like,
Yes.
oh yeah, there's a letter from Colonel. I can't remember who it was. Brett, who's the Colonel?
Cotswold.
There we go. Yeah.
I love
there
it.
we go. Cotswold.
Yeah, we definitely have to get a little Discord thing going where we're talking back and forth because I like Hugh and I want to connect even just with little Ed who's doing the Tales and Trinkets. He's doing some like Rolling Coast themed items. And Peter, we have like a village that's at the top of a Ferris wheel, and it's where all like the like wider world trade happens through like pigeon riders and sparrow riders. So we should even like potentially talk about putting something from Feathertail Falls, like someone's just kind of posted up there, and it'd just be so cool to have all these things cross. Like our big bad guy is this porcupine, and maybe he's connected to the hungry mouths somehow. Like there's just correspondence like just leaked between all the different ones. I think it would be so fun.
For sure, I'm all for it. I was thinking about that when the Mausritter Month came online. Looking at the estate, it's a very simple system to link the adventure sites together with just a hook and then a location where you can find a little thing. And I was looking at these 16 things, and it did seem to me like it's not a big stretch to have that that system, but instead of on adventure sites, on projects, just have these little hooks so that it all feels like a connected thing because they are connected through Mausritter Month.
So good.
No, let me just say something because I something popped to mind while I was hearing everyone and you, Matt. With I love the idea that's well, not all, but many of these projects have this theme running through, which is there's some sort of machines or contraptions here and there with like the Max or the flight, right? The flying machines with Peter, or in your case, Matt, with Rolling Coast. I know you also have some mechs and mech rules, and then there's Mech Ritter that's also doing something cool about that. I don't know if Brett, you can talk about it if you want. If you have some sort of like machines, I know that you said there was some technology, and the GM could build some technology out of the action points and stuff. And it's cool because I've in Junk City we also have a bit of that. So we actually have mice doing races in remote control cars in the like junkyards neon lit nightlife district, which is called Metal Mouth Valley. It's like it has these cool like restaurants and has like there's a stack of restaurants that's like it's called the bento box and stuff, and it's like it has these pubs, and there's the car casino as well in the races. And I just saw like 2 or 3 days ago Isaac actually finished like the after a few drafts he finished the what might be the definitive rules for the races. And it's so cool because there's these NPCs that are really they're badass with their cars and stuff, and they're really hard to beat. But you can move around the setting and try to steal a car from someone else, or buy the gear to make your car, your remote control car, better. So it's going to be fun. I don't know if I don't know if Brett or Alan, you also have these like machines and stuff. I think that's a thing that I'm usually excited about. So yeah.
We've kept it. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we've kept it pretty like baseline is Mausritter, whimsy, fantasy. The Fae are there, and at the entry, if you want a tank, let's recruit some turtles, and there will be a character sheet for tanks that you then like. Do we put 8 mice on this and make it an armored personnel carrier, or do we put a really big stap, which is a spell tablet amplification pipe that is this world's guns? But there's nothing saying that if you put a big one of those on the turtle and 4 mice, and now we have a tank, or rabbit fast attack. But there's no saying like you can't like develop that. Here we have a body of a turtle. Something bad happened. The turtle's dead. Well, let's get its armor. Okay, now let's fit that on one of these race cars and remote controlled car and have it go in.
What's the name of those? I all of a sudden, in my mind, my mind sometimes goes to weird places. But it's in Star Wars. There's these roller droids. I think they're called the droidekas, right, or something.
Yes.
That just roll. So what if you have like a porcupine turned into like a droideka, and they just shoot their spikes all over? I don't know, just something that came to mind.
I have this picture in my mind of a mouse in its Mausritter mech that's made its way, and now it can fly because it's got the Flights of Fancy stuff. But it's got one of the STAPs, but it's not loaded with the spell tablet. It's loaded with one of those Fae like puzzle pieces from Junk City. So now it's just like this one mouse can take on the entire world. Oh no, that's good.
I was Brett and I were talking about that as well previously. We had a similar thing in terms of vehicles. So there are a couple of flying options in Flights of Fancy. One is vehicles, and we both had a similar approach of what Brett talked about of having these vehicles that you can upgrade with slots. Those are there for Flights of Fancy as well, for flying machines. And then basically, like Brett said, you can add another seat to house another person, or mount a pip shooter, for example, to your thing, and just blast people with your hard-earned money. And it does seems there is some nice overlap here, and I think Andre, what you said about the technology, and in this case the vehicles, there is something there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So cool. Well, Gustavo from Mausritter is actually in the chat and says they can totally see a flying mech cruising around the city, which is pretty cool. And super excited since the last time Andre and I streamed together. Mausritter is fully funded. And Hugh and I are super excited because we reached out to them, and we're doing a cross collab, but BackerKit only allows you to do one official cross collab. But we reached out on the back end, and Rolling Coast and Mausritter now are going to be releasing a digital pamphlet together where their junk dealer, which is this awesome Fox character, it works with our they're called the Gearheads, and they're the more mechanical mice. And so there's going to be some trade between our two settings as well. So yeah, just to further talk about the interconnectedness and all of this. So yeah, it's super cool. Super cool.
Love it. Cool. Do you have any more? Do we have questions in the chat or anything? If we don't, I think we might want to wrap up. Give a chance to people give their final remarks. If you want to say something else, man, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, I think there's only one question comes from Will Purves, and is asking the question: what are some new rules or hacks that people are introducing into their works for the month? And I think we've all kind of talked about a lot of those different things already.
Yeah, you have the brawl rules, the mechs. Peter has a lot of rules for flying and flying machines and this sort of thing. Obviously, Brett, a lot of stuff. the skirmish, these action points that the GM between the GM and the players and stuff. Alan, I'm sure you have something if you want to maybe talk about that and wrap up with that. Sure. If you have something like mechanics, we at Junk City obviously have these spells, the shards. The shards are really absolutely powerful, beyond your imagination spells that you might want to use, but if you miscast, it's potentially like almost world ending or life ending. So that's we also have that. We have the races, we have a bunch of cool interesting things. But yeah, Alan, if you want to say something, well, maybe you don't have anything in this regard, but if you do,
Yeah, not
please do.
particularly. I focused on just do the adventuring stuff, but I mean, there's a few magic items and things like the big campaign level magic item, and there's a few other things that have new stats, but no like systems, I would say.
Okay. So maybe Matt, should we wrap up? Or
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
Okay.
So let's start with Peter in the bottom, then work our way up to Alan, and then Brett, Andre, and then I'll say some closing words, and we'll go off air.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I was just very excited to be part of all this creative energy. Looking forward to see how far we take it. Like you said already, all the projects funded, so I think that's a big win. Mice are stronger together. So yeah, I'm already very happy and I'm enjoying this.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah, it's been great interaction with everybody, great energy for the month-long campaign. And I'm really excited about the idea of putting in those little Easter eggs for, the people that do get several, all of the products, and then start reading through being like, oh yeah, I recognize that from over here, or this is that character from Junk City or wherever it's going to be. I think it'd be a really cool thing to put in together to really tie everything up long term, not just during the campaign.
That's good.
And
Absolutely.
I just want to say thank you to all of you, to Matt and Andre for putting this on, and to all the people watching and all the backers out there. We wouldn't be here without y'all. And to all the other creators, because as Peter and Alan have already said, like just seeing the ideas, the energy, just in our Discord even, but now actually seeing each other kind of face to face and just riffing off what's going to happen, we're creating a really, really huge world for little mice to run around in.
So good.
Yeah, thanks so much. I really appreciate you all. It's been an absolute privilege being part of this event and being in the capacity of like organizer even of the event, if I can say that. It's been wonderful meeting all these wonderful creators. It's just been absolutely perfect. And thank you for being so cooperative, and it's like everybody's been so friendly and really good at setting up their projects, cooperating with each other, all these cross collabs. It's been just wonderful. I just want to say that we at Junk City, which is the I would say the anchor or official project that is part of this Mausritter Month event at BackerKit, we're less than 1K away from the next stretch goal, which is like the premium puzzle. So the puzzle, the shards. So Junk City, the thing is that there was a magical disaster and shards went flying into the city. And the city is obviously a junkyard ran by criminal factions. And these are the shards are very powerful. And the way we originally thought about them is they just occupied one inventory slot. And now we're upgrading them so that they have these weird L shapes and weird shapes overall that they're very annoying to carry, but they're very powerful. And we also if we continue to knock down these goals, I can promise you that we will have another surprise to potentially upgrade the puzzle even further. So help us knock down these stretch goals. The next one after this is very exciting. Is these like standees, faction standees, and also a player's standee. To represent the factions and their movement and where they are in Junk City in the map. of the setting. So yeah, and thank you, Matt, again for everything that you do and for setting up this stream.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you everyone who was on today. Alan, Andre, Brett, Peter. Super exciting. Thanks to everyone in the chat who jumped in and showed some love. Yeah, just it's such an honor to be a part of such a cool community. And I think probably the last thing that I would like to say when it comes to the community, we've got Mausritter Month happening on BackerKit. Make sure you go and you back as many of the projects as you can. But if you want even more Mausritter, we have a game jam going over on Itch. And this is the Mausritter Month Companion Jam. And so already 98 folks have joined, 25 more days, 20 submissions already. Definitely jump in and be a part of that over on Itch. Alan has released kind of a one shot that's a part of the wider world for the Baron's Grip. So it's a nice little teaser. I know Antonio Butch has released at least one of the events of Mouse Olympics there, and so it's a nice little place for folks to get a teaser of what's to come. But yeah, again, Mausritter Month on BackerKit. Go back it. And let's get everyone to push through all their stretch goals. And we'd love more adventures. We'd love more content. So yeah, huge shout out to Isaac and the folks over at Exalted Funeral as well. So yeah, I think this is going to wrap it up for the day. We'll catch you all later.
Thank you.